In April of 2001, the torso of a young African-American girl is discovered in a field. 3 days later, a volunteer finds her head wrapped in a plastic bag hundreds of feet away. A community christens the girl Precious Doe. More than 7 months later, Precious Doe is laid to rest. Her real name an unknown. Her killer still at large. Dave Bernard has worked the Precious Doe case from the start. In his office is a growing stack of folders, each another lead Bernard has run down and out. As the folders mount, Bernard realizes Precious Doe is not alone among the missing.
When I got into this case and we started getting into how many missing children there are in this country, I mean, it's astounding at the numbers of kids that are just gone, disappeared.
Eventually, David Bernard works through all of the folders on his desk, all the pictures of missing girls. Still no identity is forthcoming, and the Precious Doe case seems cold beyond all hope. That is, until word filters back to Kansas City of a new breed of sculptor, working out of a small lab in Louisiana, and specializing in recreating the faces of African-American children. Although earlier efforts had failed, Tarpley and Bernard are intrigued.
I think anything is worth a try. I think that we all feel that whatever we can do is worth it.
I just thought, well, let's give this another try. Let's keep on until we get her identified.
On July 15th, 2003, Precious Doe's body is exhumed, her skull packed up and sent south to the bayou country of Louisiana. Mary Manheim is the director of FACES Lab on the campus of Louisiana State University. The skull of Precious Doe arrives here on July 16th. A forensic anthropologist by profession, Manheim is the first to examine the bones.
The teeth grow from the top, or what we call the enamel, down to the roots, and they progress at a fairly well-established rate, I think you would say. And so we can understand how and where that child is in the growth and development stages by looking at how well developed the tooth is.
At autopsy, Precious Doe's age was pegged between 3 and 6 years old. After looking at her dental x-rays, Manheim fine-tunes that estimate.
We have examined her remains, examined her x-rays, and feel a little more confident that we can bring her age down a little from 5 or 6. We think she's more like 3 or 4, but again, we're just still working on that.
Her examination finished, Manheim turns the skull over to N. Eileen Barrow, who will sculpt the actual bust. She begins by plotting a series of tissue depth markers on the skull. The length of each marker determined by a chart developed by the FACES laboratory.
They're going to be based on age, sex, and race also. And so depending on what we're working on, we'll go by that chart and put those markers, each one being numbered, in the specific place on the face.
Barrow then begins the process of sculpting. She works with smooth clay over the actual skull, using the tissue depth markers as her guide. It's a process that is both scientific and artistic.
It's fascinating the way the art and the science can work together to build the face. You have to be constantly aware that the science is what is building this face. And it's the art part that will maybe allow me to make it look more lifelike.
Over a period of days, the face of Precious Doe takes shape. The bust is aired on television and generates a slew of new tips, none of which leads to Precious Doe's identity or her killer. That is, until 2 years later, when a picture of the bust catches the eye of a man in Muskogee, Oklahoma.
When we're out here asking people to call it...
Alonzo Washington is a community activist in Kansas City, one of the many who never forgot Precious Doe. In the spring of 2005, he takes out an ad asking for information on the case and including a picture of the FACES bust. On April 30th, Washington's phone rings. At the other end, a man from Oklahoma with a story to tell, and finally, a name for Precious Doe.
Said, I know who the child is. Her name is Erica Green. I know who the mother is. I know who the killer is. I know everything.
The caller tells Washington Erica Green was killed by her stepfather, Harold Johnson, and that Erica's mother, Michelle Johnson, watched.
He's overhearing conversations from the mother, I guess when she's high on drugs or drunk, talking to other people and telling them what happened to this little girl in detail.
Sergeant Dave Bernard and his team of detectives head down to Muskogee to interview the suspects. Within an hour, Michelle Johnson tells all.
Harold is supposedly high on PCP, and little Erica is not listening to his orders to go to bed and go to sleep and calm down. So he becomes enraged, apparently kicks her hard enough it knocks her head into the ground. Her eyes roll back in her head as she goes unconscious. They do not get any kind of medical attention for the daughter because supposedly they both have warrants, so they don't want to get arrested. So they let her die.
Michelle Johnson says she and her husband then took the body to the woods, where Harold decapitated the girl with a pair of hedge clippers and dumped the remains.
Armed with that, then we interviewed the stepfather, Harold Johnson, and he too also confessed to what had happened.
Erica was almost 4 years old when she was killed in April of 2001.
DNA confirms that Precious Doe is in fact Erica Green.
Now we have a face. Now we know who she is.
After 4 years of prayers and vigils, justice is finally within reach, and the Kansas City community can remember and celebrate the little girl called Precious Doe, who now has a name.
Now we can come up with a headstone that says, Precious Erica, Michelle Marie Green, May 15th, 1997 to April the 28th, 2001.